A gamer drank 14 energy drinks in 8 minutes. This is what happened to his organs. Kevin is a 23-year-old man presenting to the emergency room with severe chest pain, uncontrollable tremors, and altered mental status. His girlfriend tells the admitting nurse that 2 hours ago, Kevin was streaming a gaming marathon for charity. He'd been awake for 31 hours straight. To stay alert, he'd consumed energy drink after energy drink. But then, during a particularly intense speedrun attempt, his viewers challenged him. They donated thousands of dollars with one condition. He had to drink 14 energy drinks in under 10 minutes. Kevin accepted. 8 minutes later, he'd finished drink number 14. His chat erupted in celebration. But Kevin wasn't celebrating. His hands started shaking violently. His heart felt like it was trying to escape his chest. Within minutes, he collapsed. Now he's here, in the ER, and the medical team has a critical question. What did those energy drinks do to his body? Let's break down what happened. A typical energy drink contains around 80 to 300 milligrams of caffeine, along with high doses of sugar, taurine, B vitamins, and other stimulants. 14 drinks means Kevin consumed somewhere between 1,120 and 4,200 milligrams of caffeine in 8 minutes. To put that in perspective, the FDA suggests that 400 milligrams per day is generally safe for most adults. Kevin consumed nearly 3 to 10 times that amount in less time than it takes to hard-boil an egg. But caffeine isn't the only problem. Each drink contained approximately 54 grams of sugar. 14 drinks equals 756 grams of sugar, more than 150 teaspoons, flooding into his bloodstream. And then there's the other ingredients. Taurine, at doses potentially exceeding 14,000 milligrams. Guarana, which contains additional caffeine that manufacturers often don't count in the label total. And niacin, vitamin B3, at levels that could approach toxic thresholds. When Kevin drank those 14 cans, his body became a battlefield. Let's start with his cardiovascular system. Caffeine is an adenosine receptor antagonist. Let me break that down. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that promotes relaxation and drowsiness by binding to adenosine receptors in your brain and body. When caffeine enters your system, it blocks these receptors. Adenosine can no longer bind. The result? Your nervous system goes into overdrive. At normal doses, this gives you that pleasant alertness, that focus. But at the doses Kevin consumed, something far more dangerous occurs. His heart began racing, a condition called tachycardia. Tachy, meaning fast. Cardia, meaning heart, fast heart. His pulse, normally around 70 beats per minute, climbed past 180. His blood pressure spiked as blood vessels constricted. His cardiac muscle, forced to work at this frantic pace, began consuming oxygen faster than his blood could deliver it. But here's where it gets worse. Caffeine doesn't just block adenosine receptors. At toxic levels, it causes massive release of catecholamines, stress hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline. These hormones trigger your fight-or-flight response. They're designed for short-term survival situations, not sustained chemical warfare. Kevin's adrenal glands dumped massive amounts of adrenaline into his bloodstream. His pupils dilated, his airways opened, his hands trembled violently. His heart pounded with such force that he could feel it in his throat, his ears, his fingertips. And then came the arrhythmia. Arrhythmia. A, meaning without. Rhythmia, from rhythmos, meaning rhythm. Without rhythm. His heart, overstimulated by caffeine and catecholamines, began beating irregularly. The electrical signals that normally coordinate each heartbeat became chaotic. Studies have documented that acute caffeine toxicity can cause ventricular tachycardia and even ventricular fibrillation, conditions where the heart's lower chambers quiver uselessly instead of pumping blood. Without intervention, this leads to sudden cardiac death. But Kevin's cardiovascular system wasn't the only thing in crisis. Remember those 756 grams of sugar? When that amount of glucose hits your bloodstream in such a short time, your pancreas goes into emergency mode. It releases massive amounts of insulin to try to bring blood sugar down. This sudden insulin spike can cause what's called reactive hypoglycemia, where blood sugar crashes dangerously low after initially spiking high. Low blood sugar means your brain isn't getting enough fuel. This explains why Kevin's mental status changed. He became confused, agitated, couldn't form coherent sentences. His girlfriend told the ER nurse he didn't recognize her at first. And there's more. 14 energy drinks means approximately 1,680 milliliters of liquid, nearly half a gallon, consumed in 8 minutes. That's a massive fluid load. But here's the problem. Energy drinks are intensely diuretic. Caffeine inhibits antidiuretic hormone, which normally tells your kidneys to conserve water. With ADH suppressed, Kevin's kidneys went into overdrive, producing urine at an accelerated rate. The result? Despite consuming nearly half a gallon of fluid, he was becoming dehydrated. His blood became more concentrated, more viscous, harder for his already struggling heart to pump. His kidneys, forced to filter this thickened blood while also managing toxic levels of caffeine and other compounds, began showing signs of acute stress. In the emergency room, the medical team works quickly. They establish IV access and begin aggressive fluid resuscitation with normal saline. They administer activated charcoal to bind any remaining toxins in his GI tract. They start continuous cardiac monitoring and prepare for the possibility that they might need to defibrillate. Blood tests reveal the full extent of the damage. His potassium levels are dangerously low, hypokalemia caused by excessive urination and the diuretic effects of caffeine. His cardiac enzymes are elevated, indicating myocardial injury. His blood glucose is plummeting. His creatinine is rising, suggesting acute kidney stress. The attending physician recognizes this immediately: acute caffeine toxicity with multi-organ involvement. Here's what most people don't understand about caffeine. Your liver metabolizes it using an enzyme called CYP1A2. This enzyme breaks caffeine down into 3 primary metabolites: paraxanthine, theobromine, and theophylline. At normal doses, this system works fine. The half-life of caffeine is about 5 hours, meaning every 5 hours, half of the caffeine is eliminated. But when you overwhelm this system, when you consume 10 times the recommended daily amount in 8 minutes, the liver can't keep up. Caffeine and its metabolites accumulate in the bloodstream. They continue circulating, continuing to block adenosine receptors, continuing to trigger catecholamine release for hours longer than they should. This explains why caffeine overdose symptoms can persist for 12 to 24 hours or more. A 2017 study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that just 2 energy drinks can significantly alter heart function and increase blood pressure for at least 6 hours. 14 drinks? The cardiovascular effects could last a day or more. And remember the niacin? At the doses Kevin consumed, he likely experienced what's called a niacin flush. Niacin causes widespread vasodilation. Blood vessels throughout the body suddenly expand. This can cause severe flushing, itching, dizziness, and potentially dangerous drops in blood pressure. Combined with the caffeine-induced vasoconstriction, Kevin's circulatory system received contradictory signals, some vessels constricting, others dilating. His blood pressure fluctuated wildly. This vascular chaos made his already compromised cardiac function even worse. Kevin spent 48 hours in the intensive care unit. The medical team continued IV fluids and electrolyte replacement. They administered beta blockers to control his heart rate and benzodiazepines to manage his agitation and prevent seizures, another potential complication of severe caffeine toxicity. Slowly, his heart rate normalized. His blood pressure stabilized. His mental status cleared. His kidney function tests began improving. After 5 days, he was discharged. At his follow-up appointment 2 weeks later, Kevin's cardiologist delivered sobering news. While his heart rhythm had returned to normal, an echocardiogram revealed subtle changes in his left ventricular function. The prolonged tachycardia and toxic stress had caused mild cardiac injury. While this might improve with time, there was also a risk of permanent damage. The attending physician was direct. "You nearly died. Your heart was in a fatal rhythm when the paramedics arrived. If your girlfriend had waited another 5 minutes to call 911, we probably couldn't have saved you." Kevin made a full recovery, but he'll never look at energy drinks the same way. So what can we learn from Kevin's case? Energy drinks aren't inherently evil. For most people, one drink consumed over a reasonable time frame poses minimal risk. But they're powerful pharmacological compounds, not innocuous beverages. They contain stimulants at doses that can affect heart rhythm, blood pressure, brain function, and kidney health. The FDA has received reports of at least 34 deaths potentially associated with energy drink consumption since 2004. Most involved either pre-existing cardiac conditions or excessive consumption, exactly what happened to Kevin. The human body is resilient, but it has limits. When you push one system to its breaking point, other systems fail in cascade. Kevin's cardiovascular crisis triggered kidney stress, metabolic chaos, and neurological dysfunction. His body became a chain reaction of failing safeguards. If you choose to consume energy drinks, respect them. Read the labels. Know the caffeine content. Never exceed recommended doses. Never mix them with alcohol or other stimulants. And never, ever drink them on a dare. Your heart only gets one chance to keep beating. Don't gamble with it for views, donations, or bragging rights. Kevin was lucky. He survived. His organs recovered, but the doctors told him that he'd rolled the dice and won when the odds were heavily stacked against him. The next time you reach for that energy drink, remember Kevin. Remember that your body isn't a machine you can override with chemicals. It's a delicate, interconnected system that deserves respect. Because once those organs start failing, no amount of chat donations can bring them back. Thanks for watching. If you learned something today, leave a comment telling me what surprised you most about caffeine toxicity. And remember, take care of your body. It's the only one you've got.